Hi everybody, good morning. Pleasure to be with you today, and in particular in person. My name is Bryan Lord, I'm the CEO of Pristine Surgical. I'm going to start our story on a down note with a sports medicine injury. If any of you have ever had an ACL tear, an MCL tear, a rotator cuff tear, know anybody that has, you inevitably met an orthopedic surgeon, and probably if you went under the knife, you had what's called a rod lens scope inserted into you, picture here on the right, in order for the surgeon to perform the surgery in a minimally invasive fashion. You see the picture of the rod lens scope. There's a rod and a lens component system, a camera that attaches to it, light source that goes into that component. The whole system all together looks like kind of the old Pioneer stereo systems, Onkyo stereo systems, and costs about $100,000 per tower. They're complex. There's about 12 different components that have to be in the right place at the right time and be sterilized and also sent out for servicing. After about 30 procedures, the rod lens scope gets nicked up and dinged up and needs to be taken off site for refurbishment. That's because the scopes get damaged in process. We saw a little LinkedIn chat here that we captured that talked about how this is a rep for one of the incumbent technology companies that provides rod lens scopes in the field, and she said, look, over 50% of the scopes that she services are damaged in the field. So this causes delays, this causes frustrations to surgeons, as well as obviously potential impacts on patient safety. In addition, notwithstanding that $100,000 of upfront purchase expense associated with the CapEx of purchasing the device, about 3 times as much cost, additional cost, is borne by the providers in terms of sterilization expense and servicing costs. You see here the 35-point instruction for use in about 2-point font on the left-hand side in the flow chart for just the sterilization of one component to go through the process after every procedure. So with that, I'm pleased to introduce to you the Pristine Surgical single-use digital visualization system. You see everything here in the next couple of slides. I'll walk you through each of the component parts. The story of what we deliver starts with the single-use kit. So everything that's in the sterile field for the surgeon is contained in the single-use kit. So that includes the surgical endoscope, the cannula, trocar, electronic cabling, as well as the water cabling. The scope employs chip-on-a-tip technology, so as opposed to that picture that I showed you on slide 2 or 3, where the camera sat outside the body and where the light source was actually on the tower itself, we flipped the electronics. We literally put the image sensor and the high brightness LED on the tip of the scope itself. And we see the innovations in the global semiconductor market as really being spectacular to be able to provide as good, if not better, imaging technology by chip-on-a-tip capabilities. Everything else in terms of the device is designed to be drop into the hand, familiar to the surgeon. We have a writing mechanism on the scope, everything that you would expect, image capture, video capture, same outer diameter, same viewing angles as well. We also already are developing our product extension into the laparoscopy market. We are founded by a couple of orthopedic surgeons, so we started with really the more difficult of the two in arthroscopy and are already working on the laparoscope, which, as you probably know, is for surgeries in the abdomen. Very similar type of form factor, about a 2.5 times longer shaft, and a little bit of different lens prescription because you're dealing with air as opposed to water insufflation. This plugs into what we call, either the laparoscope or the arthroscope plugs into what we call our image processing unit. This does, as you would expect, the high intensity image processing of the video and the capturing of the stills. And importantly, this is connected via Wi-Fi, which gives us a bridge into our Pristine Connect platform. So this is a complete end-to-end cloud-based platform that we use to complement the hardware side of our platform. It's got 3 primary capabilities: telehealth, a suite of efficiency-enhancing software tools, and then really the genesis for us creating the Pristine Connect platform was logistics. We'll get to that in a moment. The Pristine Connect platform is designed to provide a suite of different technologies really end-to-end to help the entire episode of care, so we can reach out and do patient screening versus SMS and video, hence the telehealth connection component of this. We have different types of procedure checklists, efficiency tools, as I talked about, and then follow up with EMR integration and voice-to-text op note transcription, all designed to deliver in software the same value proposition that we deliver in hardware, which is basically to make things more efficient, simpler, and more cost-effective for the surgeon and the surgery center. As I mentioned, we've also built a complete end-to-end inventory management and reorder system. So we know from the facility when we've packaged and sterilized a scope all the way through delivery through our 3PL manufacturer or 3PL service provider to the facility, to use, and then with disposal, exactly where the scope is at all times. And that allows us to keep our inventory levels constant and consistent at the facility. So we focus on three things really in terms of what we do: increasing patient safety, improving economics and efficiency, and advancing the state of the art. Two of these three things in particular are key, and we've seen certainly some wind in our sails in the overall single-use environment happen in a COVID and post-COVID environment: increasing patient safety and improving economics. In terms of improving patient safety, simply put, the kit is 100% sterile from the factory. In terms of improving economics, we not only reduce absolute cost to the tune of 5 to 10% for the facility, but also improve cash flow. So regardless of whether you're a high, medium, or low volume provider, our goal is to reduce your costs overall. And we use a scopes as a service subscription model, which moves from a high CapEx environment to really a pay-as-you-go system. So that improves cash flow as well. And then, of course, from a soft cost perspective, we improve efficiency and throughput. You take away those 35 processing steps that I talked about, put it into a new scope every time. You take away all of the fuss and have a high degree of predictability. And last, we're advancing the state of the art. As I mentioned, we start in the lower left hand with arthroscopy, in the upper left hand corner going to laparoscopy. And we've got a whole suite of different extensions from our platform that we're already working on. We had a really exciting test and demonstration just last week, as a matter of fact, and a bunch of things that we'll be announcing in the weeks and months ahead. We're launch ready, so we have a 510(k) cleared design for both our arthroscope and a laparoscope. We have been working on all of the design for manufacturability over the last 18 months or so. Like all of us, I think in this room, we've managed some challenging times with the global supply chain, but we've worked through those and have got the high volume manufacturing capability complete. That has the ability to scale to 1 million units per year. We're targeting to launch by the end of this year. Big market, 25 million procedures per year. We've got a stellar management team. We have a chief medical officer here from Southern California who's generally considered to be the father of shoulder arthroscopy, and a very talented chief technology officer. Management team from Smith & Nephew, Stryker, NuVasive, lots of other folks. An experienced board of directors, 7 people, including 3 CEOs who've got 9-figure exits to under their belt, and a 10-person medical advisory board who we're really extraordinarily proud of. Our headquarters are in just north of Boston in southern New Hampshire, in Manchester. We were recognized as one of the top 25 global medtech companies by the MedTech Innovator platform in 2019. And really delighted by that recognition. We've largely kept our heads low and focused on the technology development up till now, but expect to see some more from us in the time ahead. And the last I'll leave you with to conclude is a quote by one of a surgeon. We actually have done a lot of focus group testing to make sure that not only the design, but also the value prop of the scope is tailored for the end customer. And we were all sitting behind a glass one-way mirror, and this was the quote from the doc. He said, "Gosh, if I knew that every scope I was going to get was going to be pristine, if I didn't have to worry about sterilization, the screen being cloudy, spots in the picture, and it didn't significantly add to the cost per case," remember, we're going to decrease the cost per case, "then this is a no-brainer." So we all did a kind of high five when we heard our name described as what the surgeons are looking for. So with that, I want to thank you for your time and for your interest. I'll be in the breakout room and happy to chat.